Young and the Restless Spoilers Shock. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's late Tuesday night, or maybe early Wednesday morning. I don't even know anymore. But I am wide awake and my brain is absolutely spinning out of control. Let's just dive right into the madness because I have to talk about what just happened. Okay, so I've been thinking about this and my brain is just completely fried. I mean, Nick Newman dead? Like, actually dead? I keep rewatching the scenes and I'm trying to make it make sense. Here's what's bugging me. They've been building up this addiction storyline for months, right? With the fentanyl, the Matt Clark nightmares, the whole Vegas storage room disaster where Adam had to literally break him out. But to just kill him off? Wait, no. Let me back up. First, I should mention how we even got here, because the pacing of this whole thing is just weird, like really weird. The whole thing is just weird. So Nick goes back to rehab, and he's super determined this time, like highly motivated to just be a normal guy again, which makes total sense because his life has become a complete and utter mess over the last few weeks. I mean, think about it. He just hit absolute rock bottom at that dingy park motel with Marie Kirkland. Remember her? The neighbor who heard him screaming from his Matt Clark nightmare and then ended up doing drugs with him? Yeah, that was a massive wake-up call for him. Or maybe not. I don't know. Actually, I think it was the realization that he was literally becoming the exact monster Matt Clark wanted him to be. Matt has been playing this psychological warfare game, telling Nick that the addict is his true self. And I think Nick finally snapped out of it and realized he had to fight back. Anyway, the point is, wait, what was the point? Oh, right, Nick checking himself back into the facility. He wants to get clean. He wants to be the golden boy again. And the show really sold us on this redemption arc. I was sitting here on my couch thinking, okay, Nick is going to suffer. He's going to sweat it out. He's going to have a few dramatic therapy sessions, and then he'll emerge victorious, maybe reunite with Sharon, because that's what soaps do, right? They break a character down to build him back up. But then again, that doesn't explain why the writers went so hardcore with the withdrawal scenes. I mean, they went darker than I have ever seen this show go. Let's talk about those withdrawal scenes because, wow, Joshua Morrow was acting his absolute heart out. Like, give the man an Emmy right now. Seriously. The withdrawals were horrific. I mean, we've seen soap characters go through detox before. Nikki with her alcohol, others with pills, but this was visceral. Nick was completely losing his mind. He was smashing things in his room, tearing the sheets off the bed, throwing lamps, shattering whatever he could get his hands on. It was intense. It felt so raw and ugly, which is rare for the usually glamorous Genoa city. And the self-harm, that was dark, like really dark for the young and the restless. He was scratching at his own skin, banging his head against the wall, just completely unable to escape the physical agony of his own body. You could see the sheer desperation in his eyes. It made me think about how the brain chemistry literally rewires itself with heavy narcotics like fentanyl. I was overthinking the whole medical aspect of it, Googling fentanyl withdrawal symptoms at 2 a.m. because I needed to know if the show was being accurate. And honestly, it kind of was, but also maybe they exaggerated for dramatic effect. I mean, not exactly, but kind of. The human body can only take so much stress before it just short circuits. Okay, wait. Let me backtrack a little. Why was he so desperate to get clean right now in this exact moment? I think it has to do with Victor and Nikki. Nikki just got her bandages off. She's dealing with her vision issues. The doctors warned her she might be permanently blind, and Victor has been playing the doting husband while secretly plotting against Phyllis and Matt. Nick knows his family is incredibly fragile right now. He knows Nikki putting on a brave face at that recent party was just a facade. He knows she is secretly agonizing over him. He wants to stop being the source of their pain. So he pushes himself too hard. He tries to fight the addiction with sheer willpower, which is such a Newman thing to do. He thinks he can just muscle his way through a chemical dependency, which leads to the moment, the stroke. I mean, I did not see that coming at all. I was watching him thrash around, destroying the rehab room, expecting the doctors to rush in with a sedative to calm him down. But then he just freezes. He clutches his head. His face contorts in this mask of pure terror and pain, and he just drops. A massive stroke brought on by the severe physical stress of the withdrawal. It was so sudden, so quiet, compared to the screaming and smashing from 2 seconds before. The contrast was actually brilliant directing, now that I think about it. Probably doesn't matter, but I noticed the lighting in that scene was really cold, like a sterile, bluish-gray tint. It made Nick look like a ghost before he even hit the floor. Anyway, the doctors rush in, and this is where my anxiety just spiked through the roof. The sheer panic of the medical staff. They're yelling for a crash cart. They're doing CPR, shouting medical jargon. We're losing him. Push one of epi. It felt so chaotic, and my brain was just jumping between ideas. Like, oh, Adam's going to burst through the door and save him, just like he did in Vegas. Or Matt Clark is going to appear as a hallucination to taunt him one last time. But no, neither of those things happened. The doctors tried everything. They shocked him with the defibrillator. They pumped his chest. They pushed all the meds. And then the flatline, the long continuous beep. The doctor looking at the clock and calling the time of death. I literally gasped out loud. Nick Newman is dead. I keep repeating it because my brain refuses to accept it. Nick is dead. How does a legacy character just die in a rehab clinic without a final monologue, without saying goodbye to Sharon or Noah or Summer? It's completely jarring. It violates all the rules of soap opera storytelling, which is maybe why it's so effective. Or maybe it's just bad writing. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. And then we get to the phone call. Oh my God, the phone call. The doctor has to call the Newman Ranch to deliver the news. I was analyzing every single second of this transition. We cut from the sterile, tragic, messy clinic room to the warm, luxurious, perfectly arranged Newman living room. Victor and Nikki are probably sitting there, maybe talking about their vow renewal or their upcoming trip to Venice, trying to pretend everything is fine. The phone rings. Victor answers it, because of course he does. He's the patriarch. He always answers the bad news calls. He probably assumed it was a business update about his AI scheme to frame Christine and Phyllis. I was watching Eric Braden's face so closely during this scene. The way his expression shifted from annoyed because who is calling him at this hour to absolute sheer confusion, and then horror. You don't see Victor Newman horrified very often. He usually has a plan. He usually controls the narrative. He's the guy who buys companies and crushes enemies before breakfast. But you can't control death. What do you mean he's gone? He asks, and his voice actually cracks. The great Victor Newman's voice cracks. It was such a subtle, devastating acting choice. And Nikki, Melody Thomas Scott, I mean, she deserves all the awards too. She has been carrying this show lately. She can't fully see what's happening because of her vision issues. Remember, the bandages just came off and things are still blurry, but she can hear the tone of Victor's voice. She knows. A mother just knows. She starts asking, Victor, who is it? Is it Nicholas? Is it my baby? And when Victor drops the phone, he literally drops it, which is such a soap trope, but it works so incredibly well. Here, Nikki just lets out this guttural scream. It wasn't a pretty, dramatic cry. It was an ugly, soul-tearing scream of a mother who just realized her worst nightmare came true. They rushed to the clinic. I don't even know how they got there so fast. Soap opera time travel, I guess. Or maybe Victor has a helicopter on standby. But they arrive, and it's just pure devastation. Nikki is sobbing, wailing. She throws herself over Nick's lifeless body in the clinic bed. She's begging him to wake up. Not my boy. Please, God, not my boy. It instantly gave me flashbacks to Cassie's death. Remember Cassie's death? I think it was back in 2005 or 2006, somewhere around there. The raw grief of losing a child. Nikki is experiencing exactly what Sharon went through all those years ago. It's poetic in a really sick, twisted way. And Victor doesn't cry often, but he was weeping. He was holding Nikki, staring at Nick, and you could see the guilt washing over him because Victor always thinks he can fix everything. He thought he could handle Matt Clark. He thought he could force Nick to get better. He probably blames himself for pushing Nick too hard or for not protecting him enough when Matt first started messing with him. Or maybe he blames Matt Clark. Actually, no, he definitely blames Matt Clark and probably the drug dealer. He's going to go on a massive revenge rampage. I can feel it. He's going to tear Genoa City apart looking for someone to punish. But wait, let me overthink this for a second. Is Nick really dead? I mean, this is the young and the restless. People die and come back all the time. Diane Jenkins was dead for like a decade. Victor has died multiple times. Adam is blown up in cabins and cars and survived. And could this be a massive fake out? What if Victor somehow orchestrated this to protect Nick from Matt Clark? Like he paid off the doctors to fake a stroke and pronounce him dead so Matt would stop hunting him. It sounds crazy, but this is Victor Newman we're talking about. He faked his own death to teach his kids a lesson once. But then again, that doesn't explain why Nikki was screaming and crying with such genuine agony. If Victor faked it, he would have told Nikki, right? Especially considering her fragile health and her MS and her vision problems. He wouldn't put her through that kind of trauma unless maybe he didn't tell her because she needs to show genuine grief for it to be believable to the rest of the world. No, that's too cruel, even for Victor. So maybe Nick is actually genuinely dead, which is just. I can't process it. I literally cannot process a Genoa City without Nick Newman. Think about the ripple effects this is going to have. Sharon is going to absolutely lose her mind. She and Nick have that deep soulmate connection, no matter who else they marry. She was just counseling Noah about Matt Clark, trying to hold the family together. When she finds out Nick died alone in a rehab room, terrified and in pain, she might relapse into her bipolar episodes. And Adam was just trying to save Nick in Vegas. Adam is going to feel so much guilt. He might revert to his dark spider persona because he couldn't save his brother. The brotherly dynamic between them was just getting interesting again, and now it's gone. And what about Summer? Summer is off canvas right now, allegedly getting a new face. Hello, recast rumors. I see you, Kristen Alderson, and she's going to come back to find her dad dead. Her mom, Phyllis, is currently fighting Victor over Newman Enterprises and the AI scandal, completely distracted by her own mess. Summer is going to be an orphan in terms of emotional support. This is going to completely derail the entire Genoa City dynamic. The Newman family is broken. The golden boy is gone. Okay, I know I just said the opposite, but hear me out. What if the stroke wasn't natural? What if the drugs were laced with something specific? We know Matt Clark has been manipulating things behind the scenes. What if Matt paid off Marie Kirkland to give Nick a specific batch of fentanyl that was designed to induce a stroke? Matt wanted to destroy the Newmans. What better way than to make Nick's death look like an accidental overdose or a tragic medical complication during rehab? It's the perfect crime. Nobody would suspect murder. They would just blame the addiction. My brain is going down so many rabbit holes right now. I need to talk about the set design for a second because my mind keeps drifting back to that rehab room. It was so chaotic. Usually, when a character dies on a soap, they are in a pristine hospital bed, looking perfectly made up with soft lighting. But Nick was sweaty, his hair was a mess, the room was destroyed from his withdrawal, rage. It felt gritty. It felt real. It made the death so much more impactful because it stripped away all the soap opera glamour. It was just a man losing a desperate fight against his own demons. It's weird, like really weird. The whole thing is just weird. And the way the doctors reacted, they didn't just give up immediately. The CPR scene felt like it lasted forever. I was sitting there counting the chest compressions thinking, okay, any second now he's going to gasp for air. But the gasp never came. Just the flat line and the silence that followed the flat line was deafening. Before the phone call to Victor, there was just this long, agonizing shot of Nick's face, completely still. It was haunting. I don't think I'll ever get that image out of my head. Anyway, the point is, wait. What was the point? The point is that this show just pulled off one of the most shocking, devastating deaths in its history, and I am not okay. I am second-guessing every theory I have. Is he dead? Is he faking? Was he murdered? I don't know. I just know that seeing Victor and Nikki break down like that shattered my heart into a million pieces. The raw emotion of parents losing a child, especially a child they were trying so hard to save, it's just brutal. I'm going to be analyzing this for weeks. I need to rewatch the episode, or maybe I need to sleep. Probably sleep, but I know I won't be able to. My brain is just going to keep replaying that scream from Nikki. God, that scream